I'm Carissa Wiley from sprinkledwithglitter.com. Welcome to my craft room and welcome to this special Wednesday live stream here on my YouTube channel. I'm so glad you're all here. I'm just checking in on the comments. So many of you here, and I'm so happy that you could make it, even though it's not my normal time. Usually we're Fridays at around 1 Pacific. Today I am leaving town this afternoon, and so I wanted to get a live stream in before I left. Friday I will have a pre-recorded video here on my YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that. Thanks all for being here. Can you hear me okay? Because I'm wearing my microphone a little bit lower than usual. That's one thing to let me know. The other thing I wanted to let you know is if you are here watching on the replay, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you'll leave me a comment at some time along the way as you're watching the replay. If you have not already, any of you who are watching live or who are watching on the replay, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Megan says, I look amazing in that color. Well, let me just tell you, I told this other redhead at church, like, you have to get this color, but it's like a coral color, but not all corals are created equal. And this just happened. You find it and then you keep it forever, right? Anyway, perfect. You all can hear me. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to hit that thumbs up button. Someone just hit the thumbs down. Thank you anyway. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. And there's a couple things I want to tell you about before we get down to the desktop. And that is, well, maybe we need to go to the desktop. Spellbinders is having a BOGO sale. And a BOGO sale is buy one, get one. Is it free? Buy one, get one free. And there are a couple of my Shine Bright products in that. So let's just go to the desktop. Y'all don't want to stare at me anyway. So these two products from the Shine Bright collection are in the BOGO sale over at Spellbinders. And I put a link in the YouTube description below to the entire BOGO section. So anything within that link, as long as you just clicked from page to page, should be buy one, get one free. Special deal from Spellbinders. And if you're watching on the replay, it's good. Well, for those of you who are watching now too, it's good until May 4th. So if you want to pick up, these are some of my favorites. These are my disco ball dies, and they create that texture, and they look especially good when you die cut them from like holographic cardstock. Super amazing. And then you have the solid dies and the little sparkles that go with that as well. So that's one die set. And then the other one is the Shine Bright die set. So this has, now the stencils are not included, but there are coordinating stencils for this. It has the word shine and bright. And these coordinate really well with a little sentiment strip set that I came out with to go with this. But these two products are BOGO. So you can buy one and get the other one for free. Just wanted to let you know that. I know I love the Shine Bright collection. I love the Shine Bright collection. I need to use it again, and maybe we'll do that soon here in a live. Mindy wants to know where I got my neon sign in the background. I will look that up. I ordered it, and oh, we didn't turn on the live. Hold on. Yep, we're live. Had to turn on the live part. I ordered it from, and I feel like it came from China. So whoever made it, I feel like it came from China. So anyway, greetings from sunny Sweden. How do you store your dies, stamps, and stencils? And I have a really lot of dies. Well, I mean, I just use stamp pockets just like you saw. And these are from Amazon, and I can go back and link them later, but this is pretty much what I use. So, and then if I have coordinating stencils, oftentimes I will stick them in the back with whatever they go with. So I try to keep collections together. Today we are, don't mind the Spellbinders. The Spellbinders on this is just who makes the little card. This is the Birdhouse Blossoms die set from Concord 9th. And once again, I just want to tell you, everything that I'm using that I pre-planned will be linked in the YouTube description below. So if you're looking for something, you can click that more button and it will open it up. If you click the visual supply list, it will bring it all up in pictures, so you can click the pictures. Makes it a lot easier to see what you're looking for. But this is the Birdhouse Blossoms die set. I have the coordinating stamp set and the embossing folder. And I thought what we would do is I'm going to let you guys help me along the way make some decisions. But let's talk about this color palette, because this includes a couple of the new colors from Concord 9th. And I wanted to show you that you can really work these colors in. They were released this month. Was it this? Oh my gosh. The time is going so far and so fast away from me. But two of the new colors that are in here are Lakefront and Pimento. And I have grabbed, so I'm going to go through these colors with you. And again, these are linked below. So if you forget, Watermelon, Pimento, these are all Concord 9th, Grapefruit, Sunflower, Eucalyptus. Look at that just on its own. Fabulous. Okay, so Eucalyptus, Parsley, Tidepool, Lakefront, Peacock. Wow. Love this. Is this not, this would be like a super fun rainbow. You could just do like a rainbow card with this. If I did that, I might take like one blue, one of these greens. Anyway, fun palette to play with. Thank you all. Jen says you are so good at color. I always love your palettes. And Megan says she agrees. Carissa is the best at color. Thank you so much. So I put that palette together, and this, it's like a very rainbowy palette, right? And you wouldn't necessarily think Birdhouse when you think of that. But if you think about some blues for your bird, which would be here, you have some greens for your greenery, and then you have some colors for your florals. It just really works well. And I'll tell you that this new Pimento color, it is like, it's a firecracker. So, you know, go with it where you will. Be careful. Proceed with caution. Lakefront is one of my new favorites. Now, I did do a bunch of die cutting ahead of time because I didn't know how long. I mean, like, sitting and watching me die cut is not fun. But I will talk you through like colors and things like that as we get going. But a couple of things that I had for options is that we can either use and I may demonstrate both of these, and then you guys can help me pick which one I use. So this is the embossing folder that coordinates with the die set. So the die set has the little birdhouse and the little mold, what are they called? Trim pieces that go on the birdhouse that you can die cut. Now you can use them as they are. You could stamp a pattern on them. You can ink blend them, or you can use them with the embossing folder. And the embossing folder is going to add some texture to them, some like wood grain texture. So what I'm thinking is, you're seeing bats. I love that. So what I'm thinking is that we try the embossing folder, and we're going to explore using it with the Empress. I'm going to show you how I did that, because I kind of just did it real quick beforehand and it worked. So we'll try it with the embossing folder, and then we'll try stamping like a pattern on it, and then you guys can help me decide what we actually use for our card. So I believe this goes on here-ish. It doesn't look like it's like perfectly sized, but you can see how you can get that peak up there. I don't know if you can see the pattern. We're a little bright. So the pattern is lining up with the edge of the house. Now, I don't think it would hurt to like move it down just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually place this on the part that's recessed. Okay, so I'm going to place it on the part that's recessed because that's going to make my life a lot easier to keep it in place. So I'm just going to place that there. And then I have the little trim pieces. And so I can take these and line them up with the pattern that's underneath there. Okay, so those two pieces are right there. And if they're not perfect, it's okay. And then the bottom piece, which is like the little ledge, goes right here. Okay, so then I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it closed. I'm going to just make sure that everything seems to have some pattern on it, and it does. So can you see this? You see the pattern there? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Empress plates. So I experimented ahead of time. We may have to do this 1 or 2 times because when I did it ahead of time, it cracked. And if it does crack this time, I have a plan. I've die cut a few of these so we can play with this. But what I found works for, this is a standard embossing folder. We moved. This is a standard embossing folder, so it's not a 3D embossing folder. But what I found works with the Anna Griffin Empress and a standard 2D embossing folder is the clear plate here and then just the magnetic mat on the top. Okay, so I'm going to run this through. And it feels like the right pressure. And when I say it feels, it grabbed and it doesn't sound like it's straining. So I try the things out so you don't have to break your machine. Okay, so now, do you see? Okay, let's tilt it up. You see all that texture we have? This one's kind of hard to show because it's dark. But we have all this texture that's coming up on these little trim pieces. Isn't that cute? And then you know which side goes where because this one has like a little cutout, a notch. This one has no notch, and so it goes on that side. And then these, same thing. There's a little notch on this one at the bottom on this side and not on the other. So that is one little piece. And I have to tell you, it was not my intention originally to use the Birdhouse Blossom set. I was going to use something else. I went on the Concord 9th website to build my link list this morning. And what do you know? What I was going to use was sold out. And so I decided to detour, and I just thought we would play a little bit with this set. Now, my other option, and don't be mad because I am using something that is sold out, but it's a little older, so chances are you may have it because I've talked a great deal about how wonderful this product is. I thought we could stamp a pattern on this and we could try that instead. And for that pattern, can any of you guess, like, drum roll, please, what product will it be? That's a little bit, it is such a cute bundle. Megan says it's such a cute bundle though. It is, but I had already used it for my release day cards. I actually mixed it with the Hugs and Friends die set. I didn't use the Birdhouse itself, but I had already used it here on my channel. So I was like, I'm going to use something else. And that's why I hadn't planned on using it, but it is so cute. And the florals on their own in this die set are fantastic. Any polka dots? Jill Karen says polka dots. It is the diagonal lines from Christina Warner. I love this one so much. In fact, I went ahead and stamped a bunch of these using some black ink because this just makes just the greatest little accent, this black and white stripe. Now, I did, the dots would be cute too. I did, what was I going to say? My brain is not working because I've been packing today and all that thing. I don't know what I was going to say. Anyway, we're going to take this and we're going to put this on here and we can just look at which way we want our stripes to go. And my thinking is we just put it across there. And I'm thinking the color, oh, I did link this to a couple other shops other than Concord 9th, so it may still be available at scrapbook.com or at Simon Says Stamp, and I have those linked below. So I'm going to put this back because it lifted up with this solid stamp. I'm thinking Lakefront stripes, so thinking this. I haven't stamped with this ink pad yet, so I'm thinking we stamp with this. Ingrid's here. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here, even though I'm late. Well, we're glad you're here, even though you're late too, Ingrid. So thanks for stopping by. I'm going to ink up this stamp. Favorite stamp. Love this so much. How many of you have this already? Because if you don't, it is a fantastic, just staple basic to have in your stash. I did not need to ink this entire thing. I'm just going to make a mess now that I did ink the entire thing, but anyway. So I'm going to grab my little, this is my Pink Fresh Studio stamp press. I'm going to do this. And we didn't quite get it all. Okay. So cute. Okay, so that's another option. Let me grab this out. And we'll put the little trim pieces on. And we'll do a little vote. How's that? Cindy has this stamp, of course. And then I'm just going to wipe this up real quick because I'm going to try to clean a little bit as I go today because since I have to pack up and leave afterwards, I don't want to leave a huge mess. Is anybody else like that? Like you want to have everything like, you know, kind of situated before you leave town, right? I mean, anyway, my husband will be home, but I haven't got it yet, but I need to get it. Not me, Joy says. Oh, Claudia, there was an old Concord 9th stripe stamp. So we could do this. We could do stamped stripes with textured pieces here. It feels like, oh, I know why. I'm like, why does this not feel like it's working? Because I have the wrong pieces. Okay, so we could do this with a little texture on our trim pieces. And we would put the little like bird hole opening. So there's the stripes, or we could do just the tone on tone texture. So I'm going to go over, and for those of you who are going to ask already, I have already linked my keyboard, but you all are going to vote here. So I've already linked my keyboard. It's in the YouTube description below, but let's do this. What are we going to do? We're going to do which birdhouse are we going to use? Stamped with stripes or embossed? If you have a favorite, you're going to vote right here. I'm putting it in the poll in the chat right now. So you should be able to see that in the chat. And you guys can tell me. Now, while you guys are voting on that, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to vote on that. I'm going to pull in some of my other pieces. And I have even a third one that we could, if we totally failed. Now we could do, if we do the stamped version, we could do some peacock trim instead. So that's an option as well. So we'll just kind of let you guys marinate on it. Give me a little vote here. Let's see how many of you have voted so far. So far it's embossed. Stamped with stripes or embossed. And so far embossed is winning, but let's go ahead and look. We have a couple of bird options here. I have this little guy, and this is Lakefront, Peacock, and Sunflower. So this would go together like this. And then of course we would put his little beak in his eye. So that's kind of cute, right? Or we have a lighter bird, which is Tidepool, Lakefront, and I kind of like him a little bit better. I feel like there's more contrast. And then we could either do this little thing in the peacock, or we could do this little thing in the yellow, which, ooh, I really like that bird. Okay, that's where we're going with our bird. Okay, I'm making the bird. Oh, Nada, again, thank you for the super chat. You are so kind. You are so kind. Where did I get that keyboard? It's in the YouTube description below. It's from Amazon. So if you go, it's like the third row down, it says link to my keyboard because everybody asks about that. So while you guys are still voting on the little house thing, let's go ahead and put our bird together. So this bird cuts in a few different layers and you just assemble them together. There are two birds in this set. So there's one that is like this little, he's chunky. He's a little chunky bird. So there's that one, or there's like a more cardinal bird. And so there are a couple of things in this die set that makes it perfect for the use around the holidays too. So keep in mind, this is not just for, let's bring you guys in just a little. This is not just for like spring cards. This is perfect for holiday cards as well, because you can make that little cardinal. Tina says, hi Carissa, I'm late, but I'm working. I'm glad you're here. The birds are so stinking cute, and I can't with this little chunky guy. He's so cute. And let me just tell you, not like super a bird person, but these are birds I can get on board with. So chunky monkey bird, I agree. Chunky. Okay, and then I cut his beak out of some, this is grapefruit. So make sure everything's lined up here. I just need to pivot a couple of things real quick. And because I used liquid glue, I can kind of push it into place. I didn't quite have it lined up. Okay, so now we're gonna do this, and we're gonna put a little, just dab of liquid glue on there, and then I'm going to see how I need to get this lined up. So this is the part that's like, how is it supposed to go? Oh, it looks like it goes like that. Okay. So we have our little beak there. Cute. It's hard to see on the camera. Cindy doesn't like birds. My friend had one when we were growing up. When she let the thing out, I was out of there. Okay, so I have to tell you, we had birds growing up. My dad did competitive pigeon racing, which if you didn't know that was a thing, it's a total thing. Anyway, my dad did pigeon racing, and he loved birds for whatever reason. And we had like parrots growing up. I had this little bird named Tweety. It was the cutest thing. And you would like give kisses, and he would like do his beak on your teeth. He was so cute. Little tiny guy, like that big-ish, but he was some sort of parody. Anyway, my mom now has a bird that I am terrified of. I mean, I'm so scared of this bird. It's unbelievable how scared I am of this bird. And I told her already, and I said, Mom, if something happens to you, I'm opening the cage to that bird, and I'm gonna let him go. I can't have that bird. It scares me. Anyway, Megan had birds growing up. Yeah, now to this day, not super a bird girl. But my mom's bird terrifies me. I'm not gonna lie. And it talks, it's hilarious. It says the funniest thing, but let me just tell you, he will take your finger off. I mean, not gonna lie. He's crazy. Anyway, he's a double yellow-headed Amazon. A cockatiel. Yes, I do remember. That just like totally unlocked a memory for me. My grandfather had, I didn't know him that well. My mom didn't meet him until I was a child, like 5-year-old maybe. He had cockatiels, and I do remember that. That just totally unlocked that for me. Okay, so here's what I did. I had a little eyeball that cut out with the beak, and I didn't want to cut that eyeball out of black cardstock and then try to do that. So what I did was I just took the grapefruit cardstock that was already die cut, and I colored it with a black marker. Just because I wasn't going to die cut that whole section of things just to get an eyeball. I don't feel like that eye goes there. Okay, that looks better. Let's scrape off some of that extra glue. Okay, so there's my little chunky bird. Canaries. Oh, beyond beautiful, and they would sing. Yes, sing like a canary. Okay, let's end the poll. I got to go over here and end this poll. Y'all see what we did here. Embossed, 65%. 65% of you say we're using the tone-on-tone embossed. Good choice. I like it. So we'll grab this. He's going to be so cute. This is antique ivory. A lot of you ask, what color ivory cardstock I like. I really like the antique ivory from Hero Arts. It is just, I'm trying to figure out which side I want to use now. I want to use this. Maybe this. Can go either way, I think. Okay, I'm going to do this one. This is Antique Ivory from Hero Arts. A lot of you ask about this, about my favorite ivory cardstock. It is definitely, hands down, Hero Arts Antique Ivory. Okay, so here's the deal. I thought this brown, which is from the Concord 9th Neutrals cardstock pack, I can't tell you which one it is, and they don't sell these colors individually. I thought that this brown was just a beautiful like neutral to go with this. Okay, here's something we could do. We could do this, but I don't think I like that because the bird is blue. So I want there to be more contrast. But I want to also add some layers to this. And the reason that I want to add layers, I actually think this goes the other way based on the way the die cuts are. So I'm going to actually flip it back over. Welcome to my crazy world. So I wanted to add a couple layers to the trim to kind of build them up a little. So I have a couple layers of white cardstock and we're just going to liquid glue that one. But we're not going to do like 2 or 3 of this one and then do the other one, because then you're going to have like this big gap between the two. Julie said she didn't think she needed this, but then, you know, here I am doing my thing with it. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. So what we're going to do is we're going to alternate to keep that big gap from happening. So we're going to do the left one and then the right one. Okay. And then we're going to do the left one again, which is this guy. Okay, so the left one again. Do you see why I'm doing this? Because if I did all left and then all right, we would have this giant gap between the left and the right, and it would be all kind of wonky looking. And so that's why we're doing left, right, left, right. Okay, so then we'll go to the right one. We'll put some liquid glue there. Another layer of white cardstock. And we're going to do the same thing along the bottom, only we're not going to have to alternate because it's just a single layer and there's no crisscrossing happening. Do you get it? Okay, hummingbirds and Baltimore Orioles. So we had a hummingbird on our tree right outside our window the other day, and I told my husband, come look, he was the tiniest, cutest little thing ever. And my husband did see him. He got there in time. Julie's working on her stamp market homework while she watches. That's a good project to do while you're watching a live, because you can kind of, homework is generally like a little bit easier stuff to do. So that's really cool. That's a great idea. Okay, let's go with our white across the bottom to build up some dimension. So white, and then, oh, my glue's making noise, and then white. Just making sure you guys are doing okay. Does anybody have any questions? I'd love to answer those while we're kind of just putting cardstock together. And then we'll go with our brown on top. This lovely deep dark. I was kind of thinking like, I almost did black, because you know that like modern farmhouse look right now where the house is like white or like barely off-white, and then the trim is like black, and it's so beautiful and it's like wood. Love that. I think if I built a house now, I would totally do that modern farmhouse look on the outside. Anyway, I thought about doing black, but it felt too harsh with some of the other colors that I was using, so I went with this. This is the little hole, the little entrance to the birdhouse. And then I do have this guy right here. This is Pimento. So I'm considering that. I don't know. I don't know that I love that. The other consideration is a smaller grapefruit heart, or we could do this little sign right here, which I think is cute with the little grapefruit. I know I have a grapefruit heart in here. Here it is. Here it is. So I'm thinking like this, which that makes my heart so happy. Here's the bigger grapefruit heart. We could do this. Loving that modern barn house look too. I know if I built a house now, it would totally be that modern farmhouse look. Okay, so I'm loving this. I'm McLovin' it. Just want to tilt this up where you can see that texture. Isn't that cool? Such a fun look. Okay, so let's put that aside. We have our bird ready, and let's start assembling some florals. So I have a whole ton of florals. The other option we could do is like a little stamped sentiment on a banner. I'm gonna bring you guys out just a little again so that I don't lose you here. Let's bring you, okay, right there. So I have a bunch of greenery cut from Parsley and from Eucalyptus and from vellum. So, because vellum is always a good idea for greenery. And what I'm going to do, I think, is just start kind of tucking some pieces and see where I want to go. I am going to take 2 of these little branches, which are cut from that dark brown cardstock, and I'm going to add just a little liquid glue to the ends of a couple of these, and we're going to add some these pod situations, which I die cut from the sunflower cardstock. So we're going to bring in the sunflower. It's going to be more of an accent color, but those pops of yellow are really going to bring this palette together. Love sunflower. It is such a deep and rich color. Y'all still with me out there? The thing about this is, the other thing we could do is we could ink blend on some of our florals, but I don't know if I want to ink blend everything, because I feel like if you ink blend like the florals, you should probably ink blend the bird too, and I'm not sure I want to do that. So you guys can think about that as an option too. Jill says, Carissa, I sometimes struggle with color choices. How do you choose cardstock colors for your cards? Well, in this case, so I looked at the set that I wanted to use, and I knew that I needed some greens because I had some greenery going on. And I thought about my bird and what color did I want my bird to be. And so I kind of started with the elements that I knew I needed to create. So for this one, I had greenery, I had birds, I had florals, and I started thinking about it that way. And then from there, I kind of just built the palette. So I pulled out what blues I thought I'd want to use, and then I have my little swatch, my little swatch ring. And I started to kind of just say, okay, I want to use these blues. So what looks good with that? And then, oh, I need a yellow for like a little accent. And I just kind of started pulling it in. And when I needed to use a yellow, I looked through them and I thought, oh, this yellow looks really good with these blues. And that's kind of how I built the palette. I knew I wanted to bring in a couple of the newer colors from Concord 9th. I knew I wanted to use the Pimento and show you a way to use that, because I feel like it could be a trickier color to use for some people. So I wanted to show you a way to use the Pimento in a way that felt, like if you look at Pimento on its own, sometimes this is the other thing about color. Sometimes when you look at a color on its own, it just looks like, I'm not sure that I really like that. But then when you start pairing it with other colors, that color really comes to life and it finds its place. So, Cindy, I did not use a die. I just cut them out, and I do have a video on my YouTube channel that I posted at the beginning of this month talking about an easy way to die cut with no, or an easy way to swatch cardstocks with no dies needed. And so you can go back and actually watch, and I walk you through my swatching process for all of my cardstock swatches. Now, I think I want to put a little yellow in the center of these florals, and this is that pod. It's not necessarily meant to do this, but if I just tuck it in there and glue, I get a little pop of that yellow between the pimento and the grapefruit, and I think it's really beautiful. Also, Ingrid said, I like how you're using pimento. I wasn't quite sure how to use it. And that's the thing. I think when some colors, when you look at them on their own, they can feel like, oh, I don't know. I'm not real sure. And so when you pair them with other colors that you love, like pimento is an orangey red, so it would look great with either poppy, or it looks really great with the grapefruit sorbet color family from Concord 9th. So I thought if I pair it with grapefruit, I'm going to love it because I love grapefruit. And so I thought you can't go wrong there. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, and I chose a really like bold green, like a true green, for some of my greenery, because I felt like that would really bring this to life. I could have gone a little more subdued, a little more toned back for my greenery, but look at how great this pimento, the grapefruit, and this parsley look together. The pimento is a stronger color. It can quickly overtake something like, although this looks great, this is eucalyptus and it looks fantastic. So maybe we'll do one of these too. So let's do a eucalyptus over here. The other thing is, as I start arranging this, I'm going to want to make sure that I spread my colors across. So I don't want to use like all grapefruit in one place, if that makes sense. I want to make sure that I have like a balance in the colors. So this one, I'm going to take watermelon, and we'll bring the grapefruit in on top of it. And you could use these florals in a single layer, like just like this with a little center in it, or you can bring in multiple layers like I'm doing here. So a couple of layers of the florals, and that really brings, you know, a more full floral into the picture. And then I'm going to take a center, which I have cut from sunflower, and I'll put that in the middle of, this is watermelon and grapefruit, and then this is grapefruit and pimento. Isn't that beautiful? We will probably bring in some vellum pieces as well and mix those in. I thought this piece in particular, which almost reminds me of like little cotton puffs, would be really great in the vellum. So we'll make sure that we do even, you know, some vellum up here, some vellum down there. Okay, let's do another floral with pimento and grapefruit. These actually can be used on their own, but I'm going to stack them up. And this is a way to pull in that pimento, but knock it back a little bit. So we're using it as an underlayer there so that it doesn't overtake everything. So let's do that. And then let's do one that is grapefruit on the bottom and watermelon on the top. And I'm just offsetting them just a bit and bringing a center. All right. So this is, this die cutting really didn't take me that long. What I did was I took all my flowers and I die cut them like 3 or 4 times from each of the colors. And then I die cut, you know, my greenery a few times. So it really didn't take that long. It seems like a lot of die cutting, but it's really not. Now I'm going to reverse this. Well, it's not really reversed. I'm going to put grapefruit on the bottom of this floral. This is maybe my favorite floral of the whole set. This little layered situation. And I have grapefruit on the bottom and pimento on the top. So we're bringing a little bit more of that pimento in. That when I released it would have been on April 9th, I did a video featuring a couple, you know, the new stuff from Concord 9th this month. And I used these florals and I didn't use the bird or the birdhouse or anything. So these are great even just standalones. You can see this would be an adorable card. I mean, like, look at that. So cute. Okay, so let's go. I'm just kind of planning this out. I feel like let's switch these so I get some eucalyptus there. And I'm thinking maybe we just have some flowers down here, some flowers out here. I'm going to put this one on eucalyptus because we need something eucalyptus up there. And then these smaller florals will probably just sprinkle on without any stems or anything. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So I'm going to go with 2 and some greenery. We're going to start adhering them and then we can start adding in some other things if we need to. Okay. So we're going to try to keep everything pretty balanced. I'm going to start with, okay, we're going to dump that. And we will, I like to arrange from the front, which is not the easiest way to do things, but it helps me see kind of where I'm going. So I'm going to start by kind of just tucking this in. I probably should have done that last. Okay, let's tuck my florals first because I want to build from the front back. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to tuck some glue in here. You know what? There's an easier way. There's an easier way. We're going to take some tape runner and we're going to put it just on the back, okay? And we're going to just start sticking things to it and hope that it all stays. So we have some eucalyptus. We have our little floral here. We'll bring up kind of there. And then we will bring in some vellum greenery. And then when we don't have any place to stick it anymore, we'll bring in some more like adhesive. I'm going to bring this eucalyptus back here. So I'm going to actually add some liquid glue because it's going in back of this leaf here. Okay, and we're just arranging, we're just having a good time. Megan says, I love the colors you are using on the flowers, so fresh. Such a cute scene. Thank you, Marianne. I sketched out a card idea earlier today and the florals from the set would be perfect on it. You know, they're really good. They're not overwhelming too. So you can, they're kind of like on the smaller side where you can really, they don't have to be, they can just be like a little accent and they would be a great little accent. Okay, some parsley there. And then I think we need some more vellum. We're going to bring the vellum down here. I'm thinking, you see it? Okay. Let's see. Let's go in there. Okay. So now we're going to start building the other side. Vellum is such a magic addition. I agree. I'm a big time vellum lover. So do you see how this flower is here? So I'm going to put a flower here and kind of juxtapose like this flower against these two. But I'm thinking that the one that I want to be higher up on this side is this one. But I want it tilting kind of down. So let's go here. Okay. And then we're going to grab this guy. Okay, we're going to move you up. You are coming up. And then you are going to point down. Okay, this is fun. I love arranging. We're gonna put this, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put this guy kind of just towards the front, and I'm just gonna put my bird over it, I think. Yeah, yes, that's what I want. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Just trust me. Just trust me. We're going along for the journey. We're gonna put these guys on the front, and so let's add a couple more vellum pieces, maybe right here. Love that. It's kind of hard to see on camera. Love that. Okay, and then let's go. Where are we gonna put this? We probably should have put this in already, but we might just put it in as an afterthought there. I think arranging from the, like holding it from the front is one of the easiest ways to do it. It does create some challenges in that you can't see where you're actually adhering things, but I do think, you know, you can kind of see it coming together as you place it there. So I like that. Oops, he fell out. He said no. We have this thing with the dogs and when they're like not doing what we tell them to do, I'm like, he said no. He said no. And it's usually Mochi more than it is Charlie. He's a smaller dog, so he has kind of that small dog attitude that, okay, now I got that where I want it, and we're just gonna reinforce it. Okay, let's put this guy here. So we're kind of opposite. Balancing it out. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work with my floral here. And kind of do this, I think. Okay, that looks good. So we will do this guy right here, kind of pointing downward off the stoop. I'm glad you're loving this color combo. Definitely perching the Birdhouse blossoms. It is just a really fun set. And as I mentioned, these florals, you can go back and see a card where I used it without the Birdhouse, and they work just beautiful. And then the greenery on its own, these little greenery pieces, when you die cut them from vellum, they can make some perfect little accent pieces. How cute is this? Love it. Okay, let's do the bird. We're gonna put, I still don't have foam panels. I was gonna sit my daughter down to make some foam panels for me, and I realized I didn't have any foam, and so I had to order it, and now I'm going out of town. I told her, you'll have to watch my YouTube video on how to make foam panels, and you'll just have to like figure it out while I'm gone. And she can totally do it. She's a smart girl. She's a math major. So I'm not worried about her figuring it out. I was just like, sometimes if she has questions or whatever. Anyway, she'll figure it out. Hopefully she'll have a bunch of them made for me when I come back. How cute. I'm going to make that eye shiny before we head out. So I think we're like good. We're at a good place right here. Oh my goodness. I hadn't even thought I was gonna do that, and would you look at there. I think I'm gonna put this on a peacock panel. That is striking. Oh my goodness. Okay. Should I give you guys some options? Pink Paper and Things said, if I was a birdhouse, I'd love to live in that birdhouse too. Oh, it's really beautiful on Lakefront too. Okay, Lakefront or Peacock? We're gonna do a poll. Okay, let's do it. And I will work on a couple other little things while we decide. So I'm gonna give you some time to decide. Let's start a poll. If only I had an assistant to sit here. What? Okay, what color hard base? Peacock or Lakefront? Okay, so you guys can vote. It's in the chat now. So let's vote in the chat. We could add some texture to this and it could be really beautiful. I have all these floral pieces left over too, which are going to be so much fun. Okay, and then I'm thinking like a couple of these daisies just like maybe overlapping the trim. Okay, do we want this with the little heart, the little grapefruit heart, or do we want to do a stamped sentiment? I'm kind of torn on that. Show that Lakefront again. Okay, Joy wants me to show Lakefront again. So here's Lakefront. Oh, that's so gorgeous. Okay, so that's Lakefront. Here's why I do not feel like Lakefront is the right choice, because there's really no peacock happening here. And there's not a lot of differentiation between the bird here and the background. And this, look at how that yellow and those colors pop off of that peacock, because it's a little higher contrast. So that's why I'm thinking. So here's what I'm trying to do. As I'm not always like, I don't know that I can always explain my process, but I do know that I can think like why I'm liking something more than another. And so you guys ask me a lot how I pick my colors and stuff. Here is why I would pick Peacock over Lakefront. The contrast, the way the yellow pops, the differentiation between the bird and the peacock. Mindy's right. And Mindy's saying exactly what I'm saying here. You kind of lose the bird a little bit on the Lakefront. Okay, so anyway, let's see where you guys are at on the poll. And I love how this program always does this. Oh, Peacock is 81 to 19%. So we're going with Peacock. But hopefully, as I explain that, you could kind of see why one color makes sense more than another. Hopefully. I'm thinking this guy would be super cute right here. That little heart, yes. And then maybe we go with a stamped sentiment here. Bring in a little bit more Tidepool. And if we needed to, we could die cut another grapefruit heart and like bring it here. We could put this one here. That's kind of cute. That's kind of cute. Okay, so now let's get our stamp set. Anyway, I'm trying to read and do all this at one time. It's hard to do sometimes. Sending warm wishes to new beginnings, welcome home, or happy holidays. Probably not going to be happy holidays. So let's say, what would I use most? Let's do sending warm wishes. I think that would work. And I think we're going to do this on on a block. We're going to just do the block. Kind of want some pattern on that background. That's the only thing that I'm feeling like I just want something. Anybody feel that? Okay, so let's do this. Also, let me check my cell phone real quick. Have it on Do Not Disturb. Let's see. Okay. I needed to make sure that nobody needed me. Okay, so here's what I think I will do. I will take Lakefront and I'm gonna ink this up because I've never used this stamp before. We're gonna just stamp it onto the scrap piece of paper that I used earlier to make sure. And I love doing one color darker than the color cardstock that I'm using. So this Lakefront is the perfect color on top of Tidepool, which Tidepool has become just such, like, I love it so much. It's such a subdued, beautiful blue. It's like sisters to sea glass, which if you know me, I love the sea glass. Perfect. And then we can do this here. I'm thinking right about there. That feels right to me. Does that feel right to you? Oh, this card. I have to tell you, there's a lot going on this card, but it's so much fun. Okay, I have an idea for a background. I have to see if I can find it, though. So everybody's like, I'm intrigued to see what you might find for a background. I have an idea. Okay, let's get this guy off. Let's do this. I'm gonna put this right here-ish. Okay, I like the positioning of that. I'm probably overthinking this just a little. I'm gonna put the glue here and put my little heart down. I think I'll put foam adhesive on this heart here. I like that little pop of grapefruit there. Like, part of me is like, is this heart too much? And then, but I like the grapefruit down here. So I'm gonna go with no, it's not too much, but I am gonna trim down this foam just a little. And I have it sticking off the side and that bugs me, especially because it's on dark cardstock. Okay, so there. So cute. Okay, I have an idea. I have to see if I can find it really quick. That's really cute, but it's not for this card. And I can't, honestly, I can't wait to put together some more of these florals and just have them on hand. Thinking we can tuck him here. So let's do that. Want more? I'm going to bring, yeah, this is the one I should have because this other one has more pimento and I feel like the bottom section needs a little more pimento. So we're going to do this. And we're going to bring it here. Okay. How cute are we? Okay, let me see. I'm trying to think of where it would be. Okay, I know what I want to use. Just need to find it. Okay. I'm gonna go through this. For those of you who asked how I store, I have clear plastic bins. I don't even know if they're available still. And my stamp pockets and all that go in here. And so that is not where it's at. I'm thinking it's going to be in this one then. I'm looking for an embossing folder from Concord 9th called Wood Slats? Wood something. Help me out. Mindy will know what it's called. Wood something. And I don't know where it's at. There it is. Wood panels? Would you know? What do you know? Okay, I found it. I'm thinking just a simple wood grain texture. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Place that into there, and we will try this embossing folder with the same sandwich that we just did. That one, see, that one does not feel tight enough. Like I can feel that it just did not grip, and no, it did not. So let's go to clear plates and see what that does. Okay, that feels a little snug. Okay, this is Concord 9th as well, for all those wondering. And that, I mean, it was a little snug because it like is a little bit warped, but I don't, because I'm going to put this on a card. It's just a front. I think we could do this. Yeah. Yes, I love this. Okay, the wood, I don't know what it's called. I can go back and link it, hopefully, before I get out of town. And I'm hoping to get some photos up of this before I leave town. We'll see. Can only do what I can do. I have to remind myself of that sometimes. I think me and my friend Megan were talking about that the other day. Let's do this. So because the greenery is not super secured on here with like a ton of adhesive, I am going over these areas with my foam adhesive and allowing that foam adhesive to kind of sandwich the back side of the greenery to the back side of my little birdhouse. Wood slat. Thank you, Ingrid, is perfect for this. So hopefully that inspired you. Wood slat is a fantastic embossing folder, and I'll tell you what it's great for, because all of you tell me all the time that masculine cards are difficult for you. But let me tell you, a wood grain background like this with just no florals, just the greenery from this and a die cut sentiment, you have a masculine card done. Seriously, think about that. Wood grain background, die cut sentiment, some of this greenery in different greens, maybe not quite as bright of a green, masculine card. Boom. Just like that. Okay, so we have this. I'm wondering if we trim it down just a little before we put it on maybe an ivory card base. Okay, I'll tell you why that was too much pressure. I do have a little bit of tearing. So instead of 2 plastic plates in that situation, what I might do, my lights are turning off. What I might do is the clear plastic, the embossing folder with the paper, the magnetic mat, and the metal shim. I think that would have been maybe the right pressure for this one. Okay, so let's go to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And see if we like it. If we don't, we'll just, oh yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Do that. And turn that light back on. I have like these Amazon lights that are, you know, like you recharge them and they stick by magnets underneath my shelves back here. That's how the underlight gets in. I wish I would have had those built in. If I ever build another craft room, which I cannot see myself doing, but if I ever do, I'm going to wire in for stuff like that because I love the under cabinet lighting. It just makes just a beautiful glow. And it brings a little bit of light. Okay, I see foam. I don't want to see foam. So let's just push you up just a little. And then we're going to look down. Make sure we get this straight. Kind of peeking at my screen here. I'm putting the birdhouse in the center. I'm not worried about like the florals, okay? So the florals are just gonna do their own thing. Putting the birdhouse in the center, pushing that down. Okay, let's get a card base here. Maybe we'll do top folding, shall we? I have some pre-cut. This is the Nina Solar White 110 pound cardstock, which I use for card bases because I have a lot of it pre-cut, but honestly, I like the Concord 9th white cardstock too. Oh wait, we were gonna do a cream card base. Should we do white? Or should we do cream antique ivory? I like the clean pop of the white. Okay. Thank you all. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I hope you've had a good time and maybe you've learned a few things along the way about, you know, how I pick color, why I think the way that I think as I'm putting the card together. I try to talk it out for you while I'm here with you. And then the last thing that we can do is add something sparkly or shiny. We could add some crystal confetti and really make it shiny. However, I feel like this is more of like a nature-y kind of card, and I think maybe some enamel dots might be the way to go for this guy. So we'll bring in some enamel dots. I actually have some pulled out already. Okay. I'm terrified that I'm going to rip this because it already has a rip in it. So I'm going to just do this. I don't usually like liquid glue for my card fronts. I think it's not the best. Okay, but this is kind of fragile because it had so much pressure on it. Okay, let's put this down here. I like that clean border of white around this. Just so pretty. Okay. Ingrid says, I love hearing your thought process. It's very helpful. I'm so glad. Nada says, nice card. Thank you, Nada. Nada's been so generous to me over the last few lives, and I just want to say I really appreciate that, Nada. That's very sweet of you. I'm very kind. Okay, so let's talk about next week while I'm finishing this card up. Next week, again, I have some stuff going on and I don't know for sure if I will be live on Friday. However, I will for sure be live on Wednesday again next week, but I might be live on Friday too. So I'm not real sure, but we shall find out. I'm thinking we could sprinkle a couple pimentos in here and it could be really fun. Yeah, let's try that. Let's take, this is the perfect picker tool. If you don't have something like this in your stash, it doesn't even have to be this one, but something similar to this in your stash, you totally need this. It has like a pokey end for getting dies out of, or die cuts out of dies. And it has the wax tip for picking up little pieces of cardstock or placing, you know, like I layered up my florals with it. I'm going to do this. And then this one, we're going to vary the size. And we're going to just tuck it in to bring a little more of that pimento pop into here. So it's just bringing the palette to life, I feel like. Let's go bigger. up here. Almost done. If you have questions, now would be a good time to start putting those in the chat. Use the word question in all caps, and I'll try to make sure that I get to that before I head out. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the notifications. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Join me next week, Wednesday. I might have to be really early on Wednesday of next week, which probably doesn't bode well for me, but because I think I have an appointment also that I'm trying to work around. Let me look. I'm pretty sure I have an appointment. Yeah, I have an appointment at 1:15, so I'm thinking maybe 11 next week. 11-ish. But stay tuned to my Instagram because I will update there like when I make that decision for sure. We don't want to put poop on the bird. How cute would a little black enamel dot be for his eye? Okay, I'm going to put this guy here. Okay. I don't know if you can see those little pimento droplets in there, but they are so cute. One last thing we need to do. Juju says you make the most beautiful cards. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully, as you watch me walk through these, you feel like this is something you can totally do on your own, because it really is something you can do on your own. It is just a matter of doing it step by step, one step at a time. Okay, this is called a glaze pen. I'm going to go right over his eye. And that's going to give it just a little sparkle. And I think we're done. Do you put the card in a bigger envelope for the overhanging florals? Yes, I would. Let me show you. I have, and I just ordered some 5x7 envelopes too, but these tend to be really perfect for, because I make big cards, Deb. I'm trying to get back in my chair. I make really big cards, a lot of dimensions sometimes, and sometimes even though they can be all contained on an A2 card size, they're tight going into an A2 envelope. This is called, and this might be just slightly small, but this is an A6 envelope, and these tend to work really well. Oh no, just joined to see the reveal. We'll need to play catch up. Yes, Deb, go back and watch the replay. So this is an A6 envelope, and I find that these work really well for thick A2 cards. Something like this where maybe it wasn't hanging over quite as much would work, or you can do a 5x7 envelope for something like this as well. Carmen says, this card is so fun and cheery. It's beautiful and would brighten anyone's day. Thank you, Carissa, for your inspiration. Well, thank you so much for your kind comments. I'm glad all of you were here today. It's not my normal day to go live, and so to see so many of you here is just wonderful. I really hope you enjoyed watching this process, watching this card come together. You can't quite see the embossing when it's laying flat, so I'm just going to tilt it up here so you can see all that dimension with the embossing. And of course, that color palette that just like took everything over the edge. Again, we have watermelon, grapefruit, pimento, sunflower, parsley, eucalyptus, Tidepool, Lakefront, and Peacock that bring this palette together. And it's an absolute stunner. It makes a great rainbow too. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning, I'll lay it all out for you again, because it really is a fun rainbow palette as well, which you wouldn't necessarily think rainbow with this to begin with, but look at that. Such a fun rainbow palette. And then of course you have the Peacock, which, here we go, Peacock. Isn't that fun? Heavy on the blues, heavy on the pinks, oranges. Love it though. So much fun. So there it is. And all of this is in the YouTube description, as I mentioned below. So thanks for joining me. I'm going to head out. I have to get out of town, but I'm so glad you were all here. I will see you Friday for a pre-recorded video. Next Tuesday, I have a pre-recorded video. We'll be live Wednesday at probably, what did I say, 10-ish, 11-ish, somewhere in there. We'll figure that out. Also, I have a pre-recorded video coming on Wednesday of next week and lots of inspiration coming for you. So stick around here. Make sure you are following me on Instagram and checking out my stories because I share a lot there too. Thanks for joining me. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my card making and paper crafting video tutorials. Thanks again, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.